Hi everybody, I'm Greg. Welcome to Goodbye Gluten.
Saying goodbye to gluten does not mean saying goodbye to great food and great taste.
So please like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to our channel.
So today I'm going to make a pie crust that we're going to be using in a few other videos. Me and my wife decided let's start doing some holiday dishes and desserts that you're going to love. Now this video isn't just for you gluten-free people. This is for the people who are not gluten-free that have gluten-free people in your house. Now me as a celiac, I'm really sensitive to cross-contamination. So if you're one of the non-gluten-free people and you're cooking for someone with that, make sure that all of your gluten-free cooking is done before your other kind, and you remove that stuff out of the kitchen once it's done, because if you don't think about it, like flour, you're making a flour buns or something like that. The flour particles float in the air and can land on your gluten-free food, and therefore the person's going to get sick from it, right? So one thing you want to make sure is you clean all your area up extremely good. Don't use wooden spoons or spatulas because they actually absorb gluten and then will distribute it into the foods that are gluten-free. So we're going to be making a pie crust today, and then a few videos following this one right off the bat will be different types of pies. So that way you can make these for your family and friends, include them into your holiday wishes and festivities. So let's get to seeing what you're going to need to make a great pie crust. So here is the ingredients and items that you are going to need. We'll start here. Pie crusts. You got the tin ones that are for, when you want to take them out to places and you don't want to bring them home. Glass ones are great, for staying at home or taking in. You're going to bring it home, that's fine. This is a little larger and deeper than these ones, as you can see, the different sizes. All right, so this one will actually hold more of a pie than these ones will. Okay, your ingredients. I'm doing a double batch today. So you're going to want 2 1/4 cup gluten-free flour. We use Bob Red Mill's 1-to-1 baking flour, which is really good. It's a gluten-free, really awesome. We use this constantly instead of, making our own batches of flours, which, is extremely expensive. Because I know I used to do that. Okay, so you're going to want about a 1/2 cup of water to start, because gluten-free flour absorbs a lot more water than normal flour does. Okay, so you want to basically start with like 1/3 cup and then add just a little bit more at a time. This way your pie crust isn't going to be all crumbly. You want a teaspoon of salt. You need about 14 tablespoons of butter, shortening, or lard. I'm using lard, which I feel that lard works better. But if you're like, vegan or something like that, then use, shortening, or country crock is really good alternative because it's basically hydrogenated vegetable oil. Okay, you're going to need a teaspoon to measure out some of your ingredients, measuring cups to measure out your ingredients, a spoon to stir your stuff, and then I use the 2-knife method for cutting the fat into the flour, which I will be showing you in a little bit. Okay, you're also going to need some food wrap or plastic wrap to wrap your dough in to get it chilled. Okay, now here is an option that you can think about to add actually to your flour to give the crust a unique flavor, which is about 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg and cloves. You can add a little ground ginger powder to it, and it'll bring out a really nice flavor to your crust. Okay, so I added a little bit of cinnamon ginger to it. So I'm going to take my salt. Now, you're looking at this, that doesn't look like 2 1/4 cups, because like I said, I'm doing a double batch. So I'm going to use a whisk. I forgot to mention you can use a whisk to help stir your flour up. the dry ingredients first. This helps get them mixed around. You can use a spoon too. Okay. Spatula. Now this is where we call cutting in the fat. Now there are things called like pastry cutters that you can utilize, but tell you the truth, to me they've always been kind of a issue to utilize because one, they cut the stuff too small, and two, they are just a pain to clean while you're using them. So this is old school method of cutting in your pastry or your fat into your pastry. Okay. Because now what we're going to be doing is looking to make pea-size pieces of fat in the flour mix. Now all the flour does not need to have to be incorporated, but you want a majority of it to be utilized in the fat. And if you notice, what I'm doing is I'm slicing like this and basically scraping the two knives together to make sure that the flour is being cut through the fat. Spin. Doesn't take very long at all. And then like you can also do it this way. But as you notice, it's starting to build up. So this way you're basically slicing most of it off, and you can also maneuver it better. Okay, now you see how big our pieces are. So basically size like that's fine. Okay. I'm going to reserve just a hair bit of that half cup out just to make sure. Should have probably used my flatter spoon. I don't know where it went. Oh well. Now one thing you can utilize is a bread knife, like I just did with the fat. Or I can use my spatula. Now this is how I usually do it, is I just cut through the wet dough so that the dry dough will get mixed up. I need a hair bit more water. Should be good. As you see, it's starting to clump together really well. We really don't want to overwork it too much. So now what we can do, go ahead and squash it down. Whoops. Okay, this is pretty much mixed together. Get all that just stuck into one big pile. Basically, we're going to form a ball. So as you see, it's starting to come together. And kind of sticking to my hands a little bit, but not bad. Okay, move that aside. Take our food wrap. I'm going to basically kind of cut this in half. So it's a little bit easier to manipulate. Hold tight. There we go. We're going to repeat the process. This is also one of the reasons why I say, you know, if you're doing gluten-free cooking for someone and you're not, get your pie and all your cooking first done. This way, you know, your foods aren't going to be contaminating the gluten-free foods. And especially, side note, is don't store like measuring cups inside your flours because, you know, that can contaminate. And also, don't use wooden spoons because the gluten will be inside those.
So chill in your refrigerator for at least a half an hour.
So we're going to go ahead and preheat our oven to 425 degrees. Okay, so first things first, we're going to get out some the plastic wrap. This is going to be the top and bottom of our pizza, or our pie crust pizza. Okay, make sure it's not crimped or anything like that. This will be on top and bottom. So I basically want enough to go on the outsides, at least about an inch or so. So you want to do yourself a nice large diameter food wrap. 18 inches are usually the best. Okay. Now I've had this sitting in the refrigerator for about a day. Because I'm going to take extra and make a ribbon around this. See if it actually just works straight like this. Yeah, see how it just starts instantly caking? Even if I put extra flour. Okay. Grab ourselves a butter knife. Now, if you notice, I don't have the full size diameter food wrap. There was miscommunications in the production crew. But it's fine. I've learned to adapt and overcome. Okay. Now what I'm going to just do is simply flip it over and transfer and try to get it as even as possible. Okay, so as you noticed, whoops, butters. Well, that gets tossed. I'm just gonna, any overhanging, I'm just gonna go ahead and basically use my knife to just cut over. Anything that's not overhanging, I'm just gonna kind of press into it. And this is also a good time where you'll be able to fill in the gaps, and if your pie crust does this where it's like a little crack, that's a simple fix. Just use your thumbs. And what I'm doing is basically making a lip with the excess. So now if you have food wrap that wasn't that wide, this is why I like saving the excess. For the factor is I can just roll this up into small lines and then beat it in. We are almost done. Just one more section to build up. And we are almost good to go. Now I just need a pork. I need to take a fork and go ahead and poke some holes in it. Not a whole lot, you don't need it. This is so what steam is out in there that's going to be made from it cooking will have a way to escape. Okay, so we're good to go on that. Into the oven for 12 to 15 minutes. Check it after 12. It should be golden brown. So out of the oven, and we're going to let this cool for about 20 minutes.
Please stay tuned in for the next set of videos for your pie crust.